look, even this dream team doesn't include Isaiah Thomas. But unlike some writers here, I'm actually happy about that. Why is this a sin for the movie? I don't know, and you don't know either.
What's wrong with weird? The world needs weird.
The last 4 years disagree with you.
Now, give me a non-inflatable hug.
I've never seen a mom who's gonna die immediately after this scene more than this one. 14 years later? Then why should I give a f*** about what I just watched? Also, I always wonder why movies will pick such a random number of years like this. If the movie started off in 2005, for instance, I guess this would make sense. Or at least they gave us a specific age for Walter. But the movie did neither of those things, and so now I have to wonder why 14 instead of, say, 15 or 10.
Man, it's cold. Hey, fellas.
Why has this guy not been riddled with bullet holes already?
I'm just gonna take his gun, and I'm gonna toss it to that snowman.
Yeah, but there was no snowman there just a few seconds ago, and not nearly enough snow to make one, unless snowmen come prefab these days. Also, there appears to be another guard knocked out over here. We can even see his leg sticking out from the other side. That wasn't there before either. Also, Jesus, true lies Christ. Can we please stop doing variations on this Schwarzenegger shtick?
Rats with wings.
Four pigeoning. Wait, is this movie saying that now that he's thrown his cufflink drones out into the air, this was the first time they could track his location? The drones identify the assassin, and for some reason, back at the base, 4 live feeds open up to show video of the drone, or video drone as I call it. Anyway, there is only one drone as of this moment, so these feeds aren't live, they're just videos that show the drone's capabilities. But they are very convenient exposition for the audience.
I fly solo.
Oh, okay, good. You're fired. The end.
Is your objective?
Did they really not give him his objective before he started this mission? Why does this out-of-the-way place in the mountains have a giant aquarium? F*** you! How did Lance access it? Suck it. I wouldn't dare play Lance's theme music here, but let's just say it makes me miss the subtlety of LL Cool J's Deepest Bluest.
You know how you can tell when you're the world's greatest spy?
Starting. Lance Starting.
Everyone knows the name.
I would argue the opposite.
Hey, you mind giving me a hand?
I'm not saying Will Smith's lines aren't funny here, but I am saying I all of a sudden miss the subtle comic nature of Wild Wild West. Oh, thank God there was an aquarium in here, and thank God there was an electric eel in it, and thank God that electric eel just happens to be on the floor right then and there.
Take again, Solana.
I don't know why I don't just go ahead and kill him. There are no more electric eels to bail him out. He shouldn't be able to get past 70 Yakuza either, but you don't have a reason to leave him before they get the job done.
You want to do it the hard way? Let's go then. Let's do it the hard way.
I don't know if that's the route you want to take, Big Willie. I mean, you get Michael J. Fox, but you also have to share credit with James Woods. The Gong Show. One tiny cufflink serves as a f***ing rocket launching device that shoots this gong through the roof, shooting Lance head first into a roof at a high rate of speed, and manages to shoot him perfectly into the helicopter so that he can grab the briefcase. Even in a cartoon, there's so much bull to count here that I'm going to add 1,348 cents, the highest number I can think of right now. We wouldn't dare play the music, but I do want to point out that this is a kid's film doing a parody of a James Bond opening credit sequence with a song lyric that says, "Call me if you want to get freaky love." Lance drives past the reflecting pool towards the Washington Monument. A camera submerges through the reflecting pool, straight down where we see the secret spy base Lance works at. In the background, we see the screen that is definitely underneath the Washington Monument, but when Lance arrives, he somehow shows up in an elevator on the Lincoln Memorial side of the reflecting pool. Also, I can't help but think that this asshole got the briefcase, flew back to Washington, D.C., and somehow put that very sensitive case in his personal car and drove through the most touristy D.C. area there is to deliver it. Don't secret spy places have secure locations to land planes and deliver sensitive equipment? So, why did the security alarms go off for this woman? Doesn't the system know the difference between person in the booth and person going through the flap doors?
Never wash that hand again.
I feel stronger. Like, I legit feel stronger.
I was thinking no one could be this stupid, but then I noticed the purple sweater, so... I'm A, finding it hard to believe that leftover glitter in his suit would still have the ability to create not 1, but 3 cat faces, and B, there's no f***ing way someone this full of himself is wearing the same damn suit he had on the other day in Japan. Even if it's only been 1 day since that mission ended, he would have changed at least 3 times by now. I've never understood why these scientists working on these extremely deadly weapons are never wearing very much protection. A couple of them have protective eyewear, but where are the bulletproof vests or some variation on a hazmat suit? I can't even begin to imagine what the fatality rate is in this place.
You used it.
How the f*** does Walter have a job here? This lab is obviously dedicated to building lethal gadgets. You can't just get hired at a job like this and not be told what's expected of you. There's no way they would have tolerated him building a kitty glitter bomb using taxpayer money.
This is a vile waste of taxpayer dollars.
Space Force.
What? Wait, no. Please don't fire me.
Can Lance even fire Walter? He's just an employee at this company in a different department, right? He's not Walter's boss.
Please tell me you have an explanation for why this is empty.
Why didn't he look in the suitcase before now?
A surveillance camera in Tokyo picked this up 2 hours after your mission.
So you had this evidence the whole time, but you waited until Lance took his victory lap through the lobby and scolded Walter instead of simply arresting him when he got back to the States. Also, I'm going to assume this is a body cam and not a surveillance camera. And yes, I'm nitpicking this because the character that sounds like a Scottish Karen Gillan should know better.
That sounds plausible, and not like something you just made up.
Wouldn't it be more plausible that the outfit's top agent is being set up than that he had randomly out of nowhere started working for the enemy? I mean, there's obviously enough evidence to bring in Lance for questioning, but why would they really come in all hard and fast like this?
Did you see that coming?
Oh, so you knew they'd put digital handcuffs on you and that you could time your EMP perfectly for this moment? Racing towards the lowering door and getting there in the nick of time cliche. Also, you. So wait, this place is on lockdown, but the elevator is going to operate after these doors close? I guess Killian knows for a fact that Lance wasn't arrested by the agency, and that still pretending to be Lance isn't going to backfire here. He finds Walter on this digital Rolodex thing, and his identification shows he's been fired, but I don't remember Lance telling anyone that he fired that guy. He just told Walter he was fired. Also, if this thing is hooked up to a network, wouldn't Internal Affairs be able to trace him, or at least shut down this card's capability of accessing the network? So after his mom died, who took care of him? We find out later that he graduates MIT at 15. So what's the backstory on all that? It sounds like you want the emotional resonance of his mom dying, but none of the character building. Man, that place must be covered in pigeon when Walter gets home.
Well, can I offer you a drink?
I know Lance is desperate to get his name cleared, but I'm not buying that his high-class ass would ever just take a drink from someone, not knowing what it is or if the person holding it had already drank some of it. Also, Walter's convenient invite for Lance to have a drink when the movie needs him to drink the pigeon-changing potion is convenient.
In precisely 45 seconds, you will transform into a pigeon.
This will actually take nearly 2 minutes.
Inserting rectal thermometer.
I'm not an expert of pigeon biology, but since Walter is standing in front of Lance, where exactly was he going to insert the rectal thermometer? Also, does Lance's pigeon body have an embedded bow tie? Because I think Lance's pigeon body has an embedded bow tie. None of these agents notice Lance's obvious car and do nothing to contain it. Seems like that might be the job that you'd do first, or at least simultaneously since you have so many f***ing agents.
Activate auto drive.
Man, that pigeon potion Lance drank was precisely calculated to allow the drinker to keep their vocal cords. I guess if we're going to accept that it can turn people into pigeons, we have to accept the vocal cord thing too. But I'm not gonna.
He was behind us.
I mean, it's not like Lance is driving around in a Corolla. You can sense that car before you even see it. It's so conspicuous. You guys are assholes for not noticing.
Oh, we're the good guys. We can't shoot the other good guys.
Walter has a point, and how would firing on the agency help Lance's cause to prove himself innocent?
Activate weapons.
Deactivating weapons.
If this car only responds to Lance's voice, why the f*** is it obeying Walter? Oh, I see that the giant trucks with enough clearance for cars to go underneath it have arrived just in time for this car chase.
I got this.
You got the steering wheel maybe, but who's controlling the gas pedal if the automated system shut down? How's this car moving? I would say they survived this, but this car survives this. How can you be an amazing sports car built like a tank? No scratches, no dents, nothing. When exactly in all this commotion was Walter able to play Tetris? I mean, did this agency give Lance full autonomy? Or even if they fire him, they can't do about him flying a jet whenever he wants?
I just found out that number 1 and number 2 both come out of the same place.
It's called a cloaca.
Don't tell Chris from the Sincast that, or he will reveal the secret to everyone. Kermit the Frog hasn't been the same since.
Fact! You should have kept your seatbelt on.
Movie steals the character kills someone, but it turns out to be a fantasy thing from, well, a lot of movies. But considering the subject matter, I'm going to say it steals from True Lies again, in case you confused it with Playa del Carmen, Wisconsin.
It's a regular old bird.
Considering Walter can hear Lance when he speaks at this level as a pigeon, why can't everyone else nearby?
You know who needs a wingman? That couch.
Not a couch. I mean, I guess most people don't pay that much attention to birds, but he's obviously not invisible. He can still be seen, and someone would notice a pigeon pecking away at their workstation. Even if you were cruel enough to slam a pigeon with a keyboard on top of your workstation, would you? Seems like a pigeon would be easily shooed away, right?
Sleepy night-night!
God damn it. Every single cartoon does this. It's like you're writing a screenplay and the little paperclip from Word is like, it looks like you're writing an animated kids movie. May I go ahead and put in the part where the main character screams in slow motion? And the answer is always yes. You don't deny Clippy's advice. That f***er sacrifices virgins if you refuse. Did Walter have a copy of Kimura's room key too? Because he would have needed one to go up to the penthouse and, more importantly, open that door.
Walter, I need a funnel, jumper cables, and a Nickelback album.
I agree that's cruel, but can we move on from the Nickelback jokes and just update them to Imagine Dragons or something?
I'm gonna science all over your face.
Damn, movie inserts my Mark Watney hardcore fanfiction into the script.
Kimura, what's your biggest secret?
I peed in the pool.
This guy is a Yakuza boss, and that's his biggest secret? The truth serum is a lie.
Are you pulling?
Of course I'm pulling! Why aren't you pushing? Just put your weight behind it!
Do both of these characters just trade stupidity every other scene? Walter knows that a pigeon isn't going to do when moving a heavy, rubbery, deadweight Kimura.
You and Beckett are wanted for treason.
Why is Walter wanted for treason? For all they know, Lance kidnapped him, and Walter called them and told them Lance was at his house.
Sorry!
Who the f*** is this guy, and why is he getting arrested, and why isn't that officer helping the other officers?
Well, that is...
So that's who Deep Throat was. You know, a pretty good portion of this movie is characters staring at each other or something for comedic effect.
I watch good people be taken every day, but you wouldn't know nothing about that.
You'd be surprised.
I wasn't, in case you confused it with Venice, Estonia.
Long way from home, Walter. Kimura talked.
All these agents are just gonna look past the fact that a f***ing pigeon just raised his hands. After this movie, the company that makes these handcuffs doesn't have a government contract anymore, right?
Throw me off this roof!
Oh, come on. Walter is Mr. Peace and Love and don't hurt people, and but he just throws Lance off the building, confident that it will all be okay because he talked to the screenwriters beforehand. You know, this guy's mad, but he ain't nearly as mad as he should be. I guess between this and Spider-Man Far From Home, The Lego Movie 2, and A Dog's Journey, 2019 was the year of the all-seeing, all-powerful drone. How did this motherfucker catch up to all this madness? How did he know to be driving along this ledge? You know what? It's a cartoon. I probably shouldn't be so critical. I can't say that with a straight face.
Well, we're gonna have about it in a minute. You know, I'm gonna let you have this moment.
We're unstoppable!
So many things here. First off, premature celebration. Then we have the bad guy. I want to know every step he took to get to this point in the movie. Ultimately hiding behind a small stone structure with the idea that he was going to clothesline Walter. Was that always his plan, or did he just get here and think, I'll pull out the old clothesline trick? Finally, I want to know why Walter chose a path where he needed to drive so closely to this little stone structure. Look at all that space he has. The clothesline shouldn't have worked at all.
Oh, I'd love to have some fun.
Are there any cops in Venice? Where's Marcy? If Walter can catch up to Lance and all the pigeons on a motorcycle, then Marcy and her crew can catch up too.
Breadcrumbs?
So the pigeons are only aware of the breadcrumbs when someone says breadcrumbs? Also, is this movie saying all pigeons can understand English, and not just Lance? The Dr. Dolittle headaches are returning. Also, the main reason these asshole pigeons weren't helping before was because, like normal pigeons, they weren't about to go after breadcrumbs when there were two people in the way scaring them off. And that should still be a consideration for these dicks, but hey, someone said the magic word. Wait, did this submarine just go down into the water? How the f*** did nobody see them? And how is this boat not on lockdown?
Look, everything is coming up, Blaine.
I guess I understand how ears would be helpful in interrogations, but what does he bring to the table in the field? But why would Walter have Lance take the antidote in this small sub? His transformation to the pigeon was pretty drastic. I think he would need to be in a bigger and less enclosed area.
But we're a team. You said so yourself.
And you did your job.
Oh yay! It's the insanely irrelevant and forced conflict near the end of a kid's movie cliche.
Go home.
Shouldn't he at least tell Walter to wait there? Because I'm pretty sure Lance doesn't have a ride home. I know these are computers, but how the f*** are all these drones managing to miss Killian, Lance, and each other in tight quarters as they fly by? This is totally fake. That teardrop is clearly CGI.
I'm taking everything from you.
Including a kid you met a day and a half ago. Holy did this just turn into a John Woo movie?
Inflatable hug.
Yeah, Inflatable Hug doesn't explain how he survived a drone attack of that magnitude. Walter might as well have answered with, I jumped out of the sub in time. Because if these drones are as advertised, where they never stop until their objective is complete, wouldn't the drones have known he didn't die?
Almost there. You're doing great.
Walter's going to solve this problem with drones, and it's going to go a long way toward proving the theme of teamwork. But I seem to remember Lance having a cufflink that worked as an EMP earlier that could probably get the job done as well. I know these assassins are powered by atmospheric energy or some but that energy is just being converted to electrical power, something an EMP could defeat, because it was just for the handcuffs and never could be used again. I just want to point out that this plan required a pigeon to vomit on cue. Also, how did they get the pigeons to do what they wanted them to do without Lance still being one? How could they have communicated any of this to them? Wow, this movie somehow just turned into Trolls World Tour. I haven't seen that movie yet, but I'm guessing it's this.
Oh, this is bad.
You guys do know that the only thing protecting you is the reflecting pool and whatever piece of glass is holding up that reflecting pool, right? Is it time to go deeper into the building? The f*** are you all out in the lobby for? These drones came from the North Sea. Don't you think the US government would have known about them? They flew over a whole ocean, and Washington is packed with military. How'd they even get this far without some resistance?
Lock this place down!
Yeah, no did it take this long.
Scream team!
Well, what have we got to lose?
I don't give a how many appropriately timed gadgets they give DJ Earhead. You will never make me believe his character shouldn't have been cut prior to animating.
Nice shot.
Sociopigeon.
I call it 50 Shades of Yay!
It's nice they threw in a joke for all the 6-year-old E.L. James fans. Now that the signal to deactivate the drones has been sent, why don't they all drop out of the air at the same time? I just really hate the purple sweater guy. That's the sin.
It's okay! You can't do this alone!
I am not alone!
The other pigeons that are supposed to be helping me are only coming in when it's dramatically convenient to do so. This movie has a different definition of what causes a fatal head injury than I do.
Sterling, you're a bird?
Hey, Marcy?
That's why I couldn't find you!
That's what she's taking away from this?
I lead nothing unless my man Walter is on the team.
I think she's talking to Walter.
Really? Because when she first got on the screen, she directly addressed Lance and didn't say a word to Walter.
People, this is some very innovative vomit.
Make sure you click that bell icon.
Sellouts.
But clicking the little bell icon is how you make sure you get notified every time we release a video. So click it.
Sellouts.
I fly solo.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
Hey, don't take the loss so hard. I mean, you did great.
You will always remember this as the day that you almost called Captain Jack Sparrow.
I told Bill that if they move my desk one more time, then I'm quitting.
This has to be wrong.
I go into the face-off machine, get a whole new face. I turn up, they never notice me.
He stole the assassin, and he scanned my face to frame me.
That sounds plausible, and not like something you just made up.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
I can hardly feel my legs!
I have no legs!
There's no good guys or bad guys.
It's just a bunch of guys.
Lance!
You, Lance, answer!
And you had all these fancy toys that just went boom.
Get those wonderful toys.